Hello, everyone, and welcome to another ProcureTech Wonders. I am Amanda Prochaska. I am the founder and chief wonder officer of Wonder Services, and we love bringing to you super, super cool tech. And I had the experience of meeting Lorenz, who is our special guest today, and getting introduced to Didero. What was that at SIG? I think we met at SIG.
We
That's
did,
correct?
yeah, that's right.
Yes. And I was just floored by the advancements that we're making within the procurement space and beyond with AI agents and AI focused on workflow and automation, which is what we're going to be seeing today. So I am thrilled to bring this to you. We're going to do a quick 15 minutes hot seat with Lorenz so we get to get a little bit of a preview of what's going on in his world. So hopefully you're game for this. Lorenz, why don't we just start with introducing yourself?
Great. Well, my name is Lorenz. I'm one of the co-founders of Didero. My personal background is in consulting, so I spent a decade at McKinsey helping people with a lot of the same questions that we're going to talk about today, but using a lot less advanced technology and using a lot more analyst time at 2 a.m. And now I get to work on much cooler technology and bring that to a lot of companies. And yeah, that's the
That's
exciting part.
That is fantastic. And literally, I'm really intrigued by what you're doing in the market. So let's introduce it a little bit more to all of our listeners today. So let's talk about Didero and what you do, and really think about like what's your mission at the end of the day for the company.
Yeah. So our mission really is to leverage the incredible moment in technology to give people and teams finally the headcount that they deserve. Because we all know that, especially since COVID, teams are so underwater. They have gotten so many additional responsibilities burdened on them. There's always fires to fight. There's another high priority project. But people are drowning in admin, in so many things that, they that just clock up their inbox. When now we have AI and actually the ability to free people from a lot of that minutia. And we do that by developing what's called an AI agent. An agent really is just a fancy way to say a really advanced AI system that can take actions on behalf of our users. And that means that we can create virtual coworkers that take on routine tasks for the teams we work with so that they can focus on the strategy, the personal relationships, all the stuff that humans are really amazing at. We see this as a way to uplift and empower people, and actually finally free them from, clicking a million buttons in an ERP system.
Yeah. Actually, when I saw you guys at SIG, the first thing that I thought of is you can actually do more with less, right?
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
so many procurement people come up to me and they're like, we've been challenged to do more with less, or more with the same amount of people. And it's like, how do you do that? And like that's I think what you all are
Yeah.
trying to solve for.
That's right. Nobody's
Yeah.
getting additional headcounts, and
Yeah.
but more and more responsibilities and more pressure. We work with a lot of private equity owned companies as well, and also with some of their private equity owners directly. And
Mhm.
yeah, there's a lot of margin pressure. There's a lot of also opportunity, right? I don't want to
Yeah.
just say there's a lot of negative, but there's also so much untapped potential to help companies make procurement the value driver that it deserves to be, but in practice often doesn't have the tools to be.
Correct. Or the time,
Or
right?
absolutely the time, exactly the time,
Yes,
the
yes.
tools, anything. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, second question for you. How do you differentiate yourself against the competition out there? There's so many AI agents
Yep.
coming to, fruition right now or being
Yeah.
marketed. So how are you different?
So I actually don't consider other agentic AI companies to be our big competitor because the market is still very, very, very early. And if we
Yes.
look at the whole landscape of companies in this world that could benefit from agentic AI, I would be surprised if any more than 0.01% of them have even started experimenting with them. And so we're
Right.
still at the early stages of where companies that, we really see apathy as our number one competitor. People doing the same thing over and over again and not
Right.
realizing that the technology is both mature and ready for certain things. It's not ready for other things, but
Yeah.
we work with dozens and dozens of companies that have these agents deployed live right now, doing really valuable work for them. Yes, the agents aren't perfect and can do like anything that you give them, sure, but it's
Yeah.
enough if they can take over a lot of stuff that takes a lot of hours of people's time. And so, to me, it's really not about figuring out, hey, there's a lot of really cool people building amazing products in agentic AI.
Yeah.
We actually think it's a really good thing for us. I think the bigger problem is how do you tell people that they can act and have to act because their competitors are probably looking at this. And so from a competition perspective, we
Yeah.
really are mostly looking at how do we convince people that agents are ready for prime time. And you know what, if you're not looking at it, your competitor probably is, and this is helping them improve their margins, be more agile, be better at their jobs. So people always say AI won't take your job. AI, your job will be taken by somebody who's using AI, and I think that's very, very accurate.
It's also it's pretty interesting, as I'm out there in the market, people are like AI is becoming more real, but I feel like a lot of people are still like it's in the future too. But
Totally.
what I see from you all, at least what I saw at SAG, was very practical application, very scoped, right? And applications that everyone uses today for the most part, right? Like that is just
Yeah.
like so that to me it's making the future like now. And so if you're on the fence, if you're watching today, you're curious, that's a good thing. But if you're watching today, the future is now. There's capability that you could be deploying right now to help with automation and simplification and switching from a lot of that tactical day to day to something
Yeah.
that's more strategic in nature. So very, very cool stuff. That's why I'm excited. Okay, tell us about your target market.
Great question. So as I
Yeah,
mentioned, we work especially with private equity owned companies because they, I think, more so than many other companies have seen what's happening and have recognized how this can help their targets across their portfolio, which is helpful to us because of course we've had several times now worked with one of their portcos and now we work with several of their portcos. In terms of target market, we work with a pretty broad range of companies. Anybody who has a lot of tactical procurement work, ultimately, a lot of the workflows are very similar. So anybody who struggles with spending too much time managing purchase orders, managing invoices, doing low value contracting or onboarding, clicking a million buttons in a source to pay tool or an ERP, kind of anywhere along the source to pay journey, we want to be able to help. We work with a lot of manufacturers, we work with a lot of distributors, but then generally anybody who has kind of a high volume of transactions that warrants this kind of level of automation.
fantastic. All right. Now, this is a little bit of like a crystal ball moment. I don't know
Okay,
if
please.
we could only predict the future, but why should we be excited about where you're going in the future? Like, can you give us some insights on
Mm,
what should be exciting us?
yeah, one of the exciting parts about anybody building agents is that, of course, we benefit from the core technology getting so much better. I mean, you have tools that can pass the LSAT, and you have tools that can, do all these like really ridiculous things that we thought only a human could do even, 3 years ago. We have these tools that can create photorealistic videos that look like they came out of a Hollywood studio. Nothing that we touch, but it just shows the capability and power of the underlying technology layer that we build on top of. And we built specifically for procurement. And we think there's a lot of value in building exactly, focusing very, very clearly on a swim lane. For us, that is helping procurement teams along the kind of use cases I described, and then building a world-class user experience around that is built for procurement teams so they can always be kept in the loop, have escalations brought to them, really be involved. It's not a hands-off process, but actually a lot of the time you do need to ask somebody for input. And so a lot of what we do is, create all of these, leverage tools, but then really, really tailor them to very specific use cases and our target audience so that we can provide world-class user experience, but also control and oversight and compliance for those teams. And so the underlying technology every day is getting better. So all of what we do gets better. I think that's exciting. We think we're not very far away from a world where you have, if you think about a self-driving car, there's level 1 autonomy to level 5 autonomy. Level 5 is completely can do anything. Level 1 is maybe lane assist. We want to be somewhere in level 3 to 4, where all of those tactical procurement things happen in the background, enabled by an army of agents that do things for you. They get quotes from vendors, they check in on orders, they reach out to someone to handle an invoice issue in natural language, in the channels people use on top of the existing software landscape. So I think the exciting vision is that people can focus on strategy and personal relations and doing all the stuff that people are really good at, but you'll have this swarm of agents running in the background, tackling the tactical stuff. And as you said, we're really not that far away from that. Of course, we can't do everything, but
yes,
it's pretty incredible to see. And so I'm just very excited about how this whole wave of technology is bringing us closer to that vision.
Absolutely. Okay, so one of the things I hear a lot in the market, like I just got off of being on the road for the last 3 months, talked to probably thousands of people, and one of the consistent areas was AI is not practical enough. Like we're hearing that AI is here, but nobody's coming back and saying this is what we actually did. So now is your opportunity. So can you highlight like a client success story or something like that?
Yeah, I'm happy to. Let me highlight two, because I think they can give slightly to, show two specific capabilities.
Yeah.
One is on sourcing. So we've got an AI sourcing agent that can take in specs, can run a whole sourcing event, reach out to vendors in natural language, consolidate a lot of information, and just do all the grunt work that takes, hundreds of hours in many cases. And the benefit is that, hey, we help companies address spend that they never had the capacity to address. And so we worked with this Florida-based PE-owned manufacturing company. And then the first 2 months of working with them, our AI sourcing agent saved them $2.3 million and automated more than 600 touch points with vendors, which was just incredible to see. So that was one story. And I think the margin, just think about, hey, what are all the sourcing events you would love to run that you don't have the capacity to run right now? Your addressable spend just got so much larger. We work with a couple of companies that say, hey, we can't source anything under 100K. Well, now with AI assistance, maybe you can, run competitive events for a much larger share of your spend. That's the first bucket. Second bucket, we work with a wholesale distributor based in New Jersey, and we are now having our agent manage essentially all their POs and invoices from the moment they get created to the moment the invoice comes. Three-way matching done end to end, more than 95% through processing, and all the entry of the kind of invoice and PO entry and updates in their ERP are also automated, because our agent can log into the ERP and actually automate the clicks in the ERP. And it just reduced the time spent on those processes by more than 90% for their team.
That's fantastic. Sorry, in the background, if you saw my gaze go that way, my dog is jumping around my office right now, but I'm trying to
was very excited about this impact.
I know, they were like, wow, look at that, the success story there.
Yeah.
Okay, so it wouldn't be a complete conversation if we didn't talk about lessons learned, right? So
Yeah.
as if you're watching today, we can learn from others. And so can you tell us the most common mistake or hurdle that leaders go through when they deploy a solution like yours?
Mhm. So one, when I said earlier, people kind of doing it the old way is, I think, always kind of, to me, that's the biggest missed opportunity. People are just not making, people not making a decision, and not making a decision is also a decision, right? And
Yes,
so,
it is.
you know, uh, uh, believe me, a lot of your competitors are probably like trying to do this, especially the really big ones. They have whole teams dedicated to this, and so they're experimenting. So I think one big mistake is really about not not having the guts to try out something different. Um, in a world of agents, it's actually very easy. We can try one workflow and we can have that up and running in 2 weeks. And there won't be any IT build from your team that's required. We try it out. If it works, wonderful. We can, layer in agent after agent, but you can start very small. You can try it out, and it's very easy to kind of test something. And then two, there is a big change management component to this as well. How do you go and tell the rest of your organization about this? How do you tell your team about this and their changing role in the organization? AI is scary and comes with a lot of connotations and people and worries and fears. And so I think leaders standing up to their organization and saying, hey, this is a tool that will help us be better and focus more on our customers and do all the stuff that we're really, really good at. It's a tool that will enable us to be, the best organization we can be. But say that with credibility and put that message first, I think is super important.
Absolutely. And that's why I'm also intrigued by this movement because I am obviously we do change adoption work. So it is something at Wonder Services that, in the digital space, as these agents come on, how are we bringing our people along, but also upskilling them, right? Because if they
Yeah.
were in a transactional role, tactical role, or something like that, which a lot of us play in that space, at least part of the time, how do we upskill for the rest to become like that strategic advisor, that consultant internally? So that to me is super intriguing as we move through this journey, alongside of tech, right? People and tech together. So super, I am like thrilled that we met, first of all. And second of
Thank
all, I
you.
think you're building something really, really cool. I bet there are people today that are watching that are really intrigued by what you just said. So how do people get a hold of you?
Please just email me at lp@didero.ai or reach out to Amanda or comment in the post.
Mhm.
I'd love to chat, tell you a little bit more about what we do in detail, and yeah, just how easy it is to actually see some of these agents in action. And I think that's the best part when you see people's face when they're like, "Oh wow, this whole PO just miraculously kind of managed itself."
Oh, I love it. That was me. That was me just a couple hours ago, I think. I was like, whoa, seeing a little bit more about what you guys do. So if I'm sure you're intrigued by this, but this is the bottom line about what we talked about today. It is a very exciting time to be in procurement. The opportunity to explore AI agents like what Didero is building here, it is really truly can transform procurement and also allow procurement to take on more responsibility to manage maybe other value drivers that we're not managing today. So, hope you enjoyed this ProcureTech Wonders. Thank you, Lorenz, for your time today, and thank you for what you're building.
Thank you, Amanda.